Hello friends and welcome back into the channel. I'm so glad you clicked on my video and you're here today. I am so excited, you guys. Don't forget, live chat premiere in just a couple of days for my July sparkle bag. So that'll be dropping in just 2 days. I hope you guys will join me for live chat. In the meantime, let's make a beautiful beachy necklace, shall we? I am into making a necklace here, friends, using the makings from my Seashore June sparkle bag. And I'm utilizing the leather, my friends. And I'm doing a barrel knot. Something a little bit different and fun, right? Utilizing the leather, putting a barrel knot around a beaded loop. That's what I've done here. So let me pull you in and show you what I'm working with, what I've done so far. Really easy project, guys. Fast and easy. So I did use those I think the camel teardrop crystals right here to make a beaded loop. There's my crimp. I use the magical crimper. And then I'm using just a couple of the beads from the bag. I have, of course, I'm going to use our Druzy pendant. I put a small little oval jump ring on that. And the other beads I'm using is, of course, our gorgeous flower Amazonite in the 8mm matte, the 8mm rondelles in that Navajo white, and that two-tone light cyan. These are those crystals that came in the bag. They're kind of like a cross between like a rondelle and a cuboid, using a couple of those and just one here of those light salmon matte bicones. And then, of course, these fun, oh my gosh, these acrylic beads are so fun. And I think they go so well in here because of all that color transition. It's just picking pretty much everything up. That is what I'm doing. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, is make this slip over the head. I am not going to use any clasp. So we will measure in a second as soon as I finish stringing. So what I did over here, you will see me do over here again. It'll be the same thing on both sides. I just picked a fun pattern. So here I'm putting these really cool acrylic beads, and in between is going to be my beautiful Druzy. I'm also using some wire here in a chocolate. So there we go. There's that. I think that looks so cute next to these little adorable acrylic beads. Oh my gosh, they're so adorable. So cute. And then, of course, it just fits perfectly. Just fits perfectly with that little baby oval jump ring I put in there. And then I'll do 3 of my Amazonite. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope this inspires you to make something fun and beachy. A little bit of sparkle too. And then one of the Navajo white and that beautiful crystal. I think that's like sea green or something like that. That's so pretty. And then I did 3 more of the Amazonite, the flower Amazonite matte here. And then I did the Navajo white again. I love these beads. And then I did the 2 of these two-tone light cyan rondelles. And then another one of those guys. And then we finish it with, I finished it with 1 of that 4mm bicone. And so there is my pattern. I think it blends so well. I like that. I really like that. And so now to do a beaded loop, my friends, if you're not familiar, let me pull you down and show you what I'm doing. So I'm working with the magical crimper. So I have a crimp tube. So I have a 2x2 crimp tube. So we'll feed that on our wire. And then I'm using these teardrops in the camel or light camel or light sand. Can't remember what they're called. Can't remember the color. So I'm putting on 8. Now you can put on as many as you want according to the size loop you want. I just decided to put 8. I like the size of that loop because I wanted to do a pretty barrel knot right there. So you can make your beaded loop any size. Okay, so I've got my 8 beads on there. Now I'm going to take my wire, the tail, and I'm going to go around those beads back here to my crimp and maybe my last 2 beads here. And we'll go ahead and pull that. I am going to turn it kind of in a little bit of a half circle here, so that is how it will lay on the body. Make sure that we don't make it too tight. And I'm just going to continue to pull my tail here until I don't have any slack. Okay, something is not cooperating. Something is just a little fussy up here. Let me see if I can get that a little bit tighter. Okay, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna back that tail out of that crystal so I can get that tightened up, because he's just somehow getting stuck somewhere. So we'll just back that out. And let's see if we can get this pulled together. And that's better. And so there's our beaded loop. And we'll make sure my wires are uncrossed. And we'll just grab our crimper and crimp that off. We need a little bit of room to make sure we do not crack our beads for that magical crimper. So I'll get that in the divot and I'll pull that down, making sure that I'm not cracking my beads. And we'll give that a squeeze. And now I'll just go round and round until my crimp tube turns into a round bead. And there we have our beaded loop. And we see a little of the wire. That's perfectly okay. That's why I chose some colored wire. We'll flush cut that. And I'm gonna grab my ruler or my measuring tape, whichever I have closest to me. Of course, it's not in front of me. Let me grab it. Grab a measuring tape and see how long that I want this to be. Let me pull you guys up a little bit here. Okay, so let's see. So probably I'm gonna measure just to the bottom of my beads, probably around, I'm thinking around 11 and a half to the 12, something like that. That'll give us somewhere around 23, 24, which should slip nicely right over the head. So let me pull this down and let's see. I think about right there, guys. About right there. I'm gonna go for good measure. I'm gonna go to the 12. So I'm going to flatten out my leather here, untwist it, and then I am going to grab the end of my leather. I'm going to put it underneath my beaded loop, and now I'm going to make a barrel knot. I'm not going to trim my leather until I'm done with my barrel knot. Now, if you're not familiar with barrel knots, you do need a little bit extra cording or leather to work with when you are doing a barrel. So better to trim your leather after you are done, still a little bit long, doing your barrel. That way you don't short yourself. So I think that right there is gonna comfortably slip over the head. Okay, so in order to do my barrel, guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold my leather, right? So I've got that top piece right here, and I'm gonna go around my finger 3 times. Okay, so I'm gonna hold it right here. I'm gonna go around 3 times. So there's 1, 2, and then 3, and I'm going away from me. And then when I come around this 3rd time, I'm going to keep a hold of those knots, and I am going to grab this tail and put it right through the center of those barrels right there. Again, don't let go of your knots, and we're gonna pull that, and now we're gonna kind of just snug it together. Now they're gonna go crazy like this, right? But not to worry, we will get it looking all pretty in a second here. We're just gonna keep pulling until we get that looking just the way we want it to look. So we're just pulling and pushing and pulling and pushing, pulling and pushing. Now I'm trying to obviously match up my other side here. So I pretty much put that barrel just about on top of those last couple of crystals there, just about. And we'll just go ahead and continue to snug this up until it looks the way you want it to look. Sorry, I have to keep holding. If you're familiar with barrel knots, you gotta hold them to kind of get them the way you want them. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna look at my other side here and see if I am matched up. It's pretty good. It needs to be a little bit tighter. Of course, he wants to flop the other direction. So I'm just gonna keep pulling that. I want that to be nice and tight. And I am going to add a little bit of glue. You can use some super glue, you can use your E6000, GS Hypo, whatever your preferred adhesive is. I just put a little dab right there on the top. So I think that's about good. Maybe pull that up just a little bit more. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. You know, it's not perfect, but that's okay. It looks nice and organic. And then I will take and flush cut this tail off using some sharp scissors. I'm going to cut it pretty close to where the end of my knot is there. And then I'm going to grab my glue, and I'm going to put a dab of my glue right in between, right there. And then we'll let that dry. And let me get my glue put lid on. And there we go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. That's what we've got. Let me show you so we can get the whole thing in camera here. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that fun and beachy, guys? I love, love, love this. Just slips right over the head. Very organic and natural. Not too sparkly, just a little bit. A little bit of sparkle. Not too much. And friends, by the way, many of you have recently been asking me to talk about my jewelry. And you know, I used to do that faithfully on my channel. And I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for asking me to do that. So this bracelet, friends, I made this out of, I believe, my May sparkle bag. And Yeah, Botanic Kiss, which was my May Sparkle bag. And this is just a really simple triple strand that I made. And I did make this on camera. And this video, probably just about a month and a half ago, will be in my bracelets playlist. So this would be from Botanic Kiss sparkle bag, and it's just a really simple triple strand. So that's my bracelet that I'm wearing today, and thank you guys so much for asking me to do that. I appreciate that. So I hope you guys enjoyed and you're inspired, and we will see you in the next video. Until then, friends, be blessed.